I have potatoes that I dug up from my garden a while ago, and they already started sprouting, so they need to be used, but I know me, and they'll end up continuing to sprout and then getting ruined and wasted. So I am going to can potatoes for the first time. It took me a really long time to peel all these because they were little, so it's harder to peel for one. And got them going in the pot now. I'm supposed to boil them for 10 minutes and then pack them in jars and then pressure can them. I'm just going off of the ball recipe, in case you're wondering. So this is how I prepare my jars if I'm gonna hot pack something and the jar needs to be hot before the hot food and liquid goes in. I fill them up with water and then I put them in the microwave until they're boiling hot. Then I just leave the boiling hot water in them and dump it out right before I put the hot food in. I also find it more efficient to put it in the microwave rather than on the stove to sanitize, because for one, I'm pressure canning my potatoes as you're supposed to do because they're low acid. That's going to be the sanitization right there because it's going to kill anything that could be on the jar. In the microwave, it gradually brings it up to a very hot temperature rather than trying to pour some hot water in there to heat the jar up. Less risk of breakage and all that. And I find this a lot quicker, a lot more efficient, and that's just the way I do it. The only thing about canning food though is sometimes it gets overcooked. So that's the only thing I worry about if I'm trying to keep pieces intact. I don't know about that. I know that when I made canned peaches for the first time, they ended up mush. Same thing with when I canned apples before and pears. They end up mush no matter what. So I just don't get it. I don't get how they keep things intact. Hopefully with the potatoes it'll be a little bit different because they're obviously a lot firmer than a piece of fruit. So we'll see though. First time doing it. For my seals, I basically do the same thing. I'll wash them, you know, if they need washed, and then I'll put them in a little container. Unless I have to use like, I don't know, 20 seals or something like that, because then they won't fit in here. But put some water in a little Pyrex measuring cup. But I'll do the same thing. I'll microwave this little Pyrex measuring cup until it's pretty boiling hot. Then I'll put the seals in there until I'm ready to put them on the jars. Potatoes are boiling. Okay, water is pretty hot, and I take the seals and I stack them mismatched like this so that they don't suction together while they're in there. And then I just put them in. And that'll heat them up enough to maybe kill some germs and soften the rubber around the ring so that you get a better seal, in theory. I had to put the jars in there longer because they're still not hot enough, but in the meantime, and before those potatoes are done boiling, I need to put my pressure canner together. Something else. Jars from nowadays are a lot thinner because these are very hot, so the heat was able to penetrate a lot quicker, which might sound like a good thing, but the thinner glass is more likely to break. And these older ones that I have that are obviously more of a square shape and have a thicker glass aren't as hot. So use that information as you will. Now, as I'm filling these jars, I am going to use the hot water from these and dump into here until I reach the little bottom line that you're supposed to fill it to. Might as well not waste water, and also it's already hot, so that'll save me some time, I guess. We have really hard water, so I'm going to put a little bit of vinegar in the pot. And now I'm going to ladle potatoes in here. Yeah, see, they're already mush. I don't know why it had me boil these for 10 minutes. I should learn my lesson to not follow a recipe, I guess. These are going to cook, and I'm going to be able to make like frickin' mashed potatoes out of them or something. This is disappointing. Now I put the liquid over the top. This recipe says to leave an inch of headspace, so I'm only going to fill it to the very bottom of the bottom of that, like, top line. I'm really disappointed in these potatoes. Really disappointed. Should have known better. Now I'm upset. How are they gonna have you boil these for 10 minutes and then pressure can them? It's just mush. It got progressively mushier the further down I got into the pot. These were the first ones. That's the bottom. And this is what I have left, but I think I'll just save these for dinner tonight or something. I don't know. Give me a tip on how you do your potatoes and if they turn out mush like mine, because I had a feeling this was going to happen. And I should have just not boiled them ahead of time. But what do you think? I guess this was a learning moment, maybe. Maybe I need to figure out if it was because of the potatoes I used. I used red potatoes. And they were pretty small pieces too. But it told me, recipe told me even if I cut them up into small pieces, to boil them for 10 minutes. So, I don't know. Alright. Put this on high. And now we wait for steam. Now I gotta wait for this to come up to pressure. So this is almost up to pressure. Once it gets up to this 10, I will start timing for 40 minutes. Now you might have to regulate your temperature so it stays around the pounds of pressure that it's supposed to be at. Mine's very finicky. This is a stove from like the 80s or something, I don't know. I have to turn it like all the way down almost. Let it cool for a second and then I crank it back up before it goes lower than the 10. If you have a gas range, I'm sure it's a lot easier. Okay, time is up. Now I'm going to slowly move this over and let it come down from pressure. Once this comes down to pressure, you know, eventually I'll take the lid off and all that. But for now, I think I'm just gonna leave it. It's been 30 minutes. I'm going to take all this stuff off. I could have taken it off, you know, whenever it came down to pressure basically and rested for 5 minutes, but I had somewhere to be. Kind of boiling up a storm. So that's after 30 minutes of it still being in there. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so I'm gonna just leave this like that and then I'll take them out like 5 to 10 minutes. It's been almost 30 minutes and it's still bubbling. All right, I'm just gonna take these out because it's going on 45 minutes and they should be fine. I'm gonna take them out. All right, there they are. Some of them still look intact. By the way, those little specks was the salt that I put in there. I used Redmond's real salt and it's got like little bits of minerals and stuff in it. So, I don't know. We'll have to see whenever I open them. I'm just gonna expect that they're gonna be like mush. So maybe I'll use them for like a puree at some point down the road. But either way, I've processed them, I've preserved them, so at least I did that. My potatoes that I grew. This is all of them. Thanks for watching.